He ran like a little gazelle. Same way Thurman's going to be running like a little gazelle. He's done it all, faced them all, but I just told him I'm going to make him squeal.
Keith Thurman is set to face Tszyu on March 30th at the renowned T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. And boxing pros have shared their predictions for the upcoming bout, so let's get right into it. Leonard Ellerbe has offered his predictions for the impending fight in a recent interview. In an interview with Fight Hype, Ellerbe expressed his anticipation for an outstanding performance in the main event clash between one-time Thurman and Tszyu. He asserted, "These people have lost their damn minds if they think that Keith Thurman doesn't have a great chance to win this fight. Not just a chance." Ellerbe thinks Thurman has still got it. Ellerbe said, "I'm picking Keith Thurman to win this fight. Tszyu is a tremendous young fighter, but I think Keith has some tricks up his sleeve." Ellerbe feels Thurman's experience in the ring and unpredictable skills will give him an upper hand in the fight. He stated, "I think he's going to shock the world in the main event." That aside, why is it not a title fight anymore? Following the announcement of the fight earlier this month, a report by ESPN's Mike Coppinger disclosed that the WBO, the sanctioning body, has opted not to sanction the bout as a title fight. The primary reason cited for this decision is that the fight will not be contested in the light middleweight division. Instead, the actual bout will occur in the catchweight division. However, this hasn't fazed Thurman, who said during the press conference, "The title will not be on the line, but his pride will be, and that's good enough for me." Meanwhile, in a recent twist, Claressa Shields, the undefeated titan of female boxing, reignited her verbal assault on the former unified welterweight champion in a recent interview. Shields confidently asserted her capability to fight and conquer Thurman without any difficulty. In response, Thurman, also known as One Time, agreed to the challenge under specific conditions for the bout. However, despite the initial buzz, the match never materialized.
Right? So if we could do something for charity, if I could put money in the pockets of some foundations, a plethora of foundations, if we can do something to get some money together, and if the fans were actually interested in something like this, it's not really in my heart, it's not in my soul, but for the people and for charity, I would make something like that.
Nonetheless, with Thurman's imminent return to the ring after a 2-year hiatus, Shields isn't holding back on her verbal jabs, foreseeing a knockout victory for Tszyu. During an interview with $1 Million Worth of Game, the Flint area native reaffirmed her stance on Keith Thurman. She remained skeptical about Thurman's boxing prowess despite his past world champion status. Asserting her opinion, she remarked, "Thurman is not that great of a boxer. Is he strong? Yes, but what else?" As Thurman's March showdown approaches, Shields wasted no time in offering her prediction, undoubtedly to Thurman's dismay. "Tszyu's gonna knock Thurman's ass out," declared Shields confidently. She continued to assert her dominance by highlighting her superior skills over the former champion, who, despite tasting defeat only once, fell at the hands of the legendary Manny Pacquiao. Shields said, "I'm a woman, but I'm bigger than Thurman. I'm longer. I've got better skills. How's he gonna take the punches I give him? Thurman can't take a body shot. You're talking to a boxing encyclopedia." However, it's worth highlighting that Thurman had agreed to fight her under some conditions. Here are those conditions. Following Shields' initial call-out to him last year, Thurman addressed the challenge during an interview with Sporting News. He said, "I did not see the tweet, but I've already got text messages all about it. Look, I can fight for any charity event. We can raise money and let you try to showcase your skills and talent." Thurman further added, "I'd probably use my jab only. For the people and for charity, I would make something like that happen. I would wear bigger gloves. I would let her wear smaller gloves. I would let her wear headgear too." Later, he went on to outline the conditions under which he would consider facing a female opponent in the ring if such a scenario were even feasible.
We can raise money, and we can let you try to showcase your skills and talent. You know what I mean? I'll probably use my jab only, but at the end of the day, I don't know why you want to gun after me. I've heard you say my name so many times in the past, but it just is this is not what boxing is to me, right? That's not what boxing is to me. But at the end of the day, Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. just fought again a few years ago.
At present, fans can reasonably assume that Keith Thurman has retired from boxing. While his name remains prominent in the boxing community, Thurman seldom steps into the ring anymore. To be precise, Thurman has only participated in 3 fights over the span of 6 years. However, during his more active years and at the peak of his career, he was regarded as one of the top fighters globally. On March 30th in Las Vegas, Nevada, he will strive to demonstrate that he hasn't lost his edge as he faces Tszyu. Several factors are posing challenges for Thurman as he prepares for the bout. Firstly, he has accepted to fight Tszyu at a catch weight of 155 pounds instead of sticking to the welterweight division where he established his reputation. Secondly, Tszyu has been one of the most consistently active fighters in the sport, typically competing 3 times annually. However, according to Sean Porter, these purported advantages cease here.
Keith, especially at 154 pounds, I think he'll have the power that he once upon a time had some years ago. I think we're going to see a version of Keith that we haven't seen since he's been in the ring with me, certainly since he's been in the ring with Danny Garcia. I'm looking forward to the fight. I think it's going to be a fun fight to watch, but I expect Keith Thurman to do what a lot of people don't expect him to do. And I said, if you know boxing, if you think you know boxing, then you should know styles make fights. If you know that, you know right here what you're looking at is one guy who has the perfect style that's to beat the other guy. There's no reverse factor in here.
Porter recognizes that Thurman shouldn't be considered the favorite. In fact, the match shouldn't even be close. However, such a conclusion can only be drawn from superficial and lazy analysis. If one delves deeper, it becomes apparent that Tszyu has put himself in a challenging position. Porter told ProBox TV, "He's not the smaller fighter. I know where he's been fighting at in his career would suggest that he's the smaller fighter, but he's going to be just as big, if not bigger than Tszyu on fight night." No, Porter isn't merely showing kindness to his close friend. He vividly recalls when Thurman was among the most formidable fighters worldwide. He further stated, "That being said, Tszyu has the perfect style for Keith Thurman. Tszyu is a fighter that's going to do one of two things. He's either going to wait on a perfect shot. If he's not waiting on that perfect shot, he's walking directly forward. Either way, Keith is going to bounce around the ring. He's going to pull whatever patience Tim thinks he has at this point in his career, and he's going to force him to walk into those shots." Though Thurman might have to exert significant effort during his training camp to recapture his former glory, Porter has a sense that by the end of the bout, Thurman will demonstrate as if he had a time machine hidden away, waiting for this opportune moment. According to Porter, "I think we're going to see a version of Keith that we haven't seen since he's been in the ring with me, certainly since he's been in the ring since Danny Garcia. But we know that Tszyu has consistently sought to demonstrate his abilities, whether it be on the playground or in the boxing ring. The Australian carries a significant chip on his shoulder. Up to this point, the inherent drive within him has propelled Tszyu to championship status, making him one of the top fighters in the sport today. However, even with the WBO junior middleweight title in hand, Tszyu felt the need to broaden his horizons.
This and what I'm going to bring. So B-side, A-side, I don't really give it. I don't care about that bullshit. It doesn't bother me.
This is going to be your second fight here in the United States. Why do you feel that you can be a box office sensation here in the U.S. and break through in this market?
Because you know what? There's no more old school fighters these days here anymore. They're all a bunch of pussies. They fight once a year, then they go on 2-year vacations. I actually fight. Last year we did 3 shows with Showtime, and that was the most any fighter did in the whole year. So for me, it's just activity. I'm willing to fight anyone.
While it was enjoyable to receive applause from an Australian crowd, Tszyu now intends to compete away from home. He aims to establish himself comfortably in the United States as he prepares to face former unified welterweight champion Keith Thurman. It's been a considerable stretch since the 35-year-old was last seen, to be more precise, almost 2 years. However, that doesn't imply he won't present a formidable challenge to Tszyu. At least, that's the perspective of Andre Rozier. As the seasoned trainer examines the Australian's track record, he encounters a few notable names that catch his attention. Despite Tszyu's victories over Tony Harrison, Brian Mendoza, and Terrell Gausha, Rozier remains convinced that he hasn't faced anyone quite like Thurman before. Rozier said, "I would definitely say Keith is better than all of those guys. Once, Thurman was the undisputed figure to challenge, particularly in the welterweight division. Yet, recently, he has faded into obscurity. Inactivity is a prevalent issue in boxing, but Thurman seems to have taken it to extremes. Over the past 6 years, he has stepped into the ring only 3 times. Rozier finds Thurman's absence from the sport concerning. It's not that Thurman lacks skill. Rather, he was once considered exceptional. The question on Rozier's mind is whether that formidable version of Thurman will appear on March 30th. That's the answer he's eagerly anticipating." Rozier said, "I don't know if we're still going to have that Keith." On the other hand, Matchroom promoter Eddie Hearn discussed the debut of PBC on Amazon Prime with Fight Hub TV. Hearn said, "I think it's a good night of boxing. I think it's a bit of a botch job where it's just like throw a load of stuff together. The main event for me is a very weak PPV." Hearn expressed his excitement as a boxing enthusiast for what promises to be an entertaining evening of fights.
Tszyu's a really good fighter. He's great to watch, by the way, but he's not particularly well known yet to the US audience. This is a great slot for him. But I just feel like as a pay-per-view, historically, we know those kind of pay-per-views don't sell. And if it's a good card, it don't really matter.
However, he acknowledged skepticism regarding the potential for the matchups to generate strong PPV sales. He added, I don't mind saying I find Keith Thurman quite an interesting character. He's sort of disappeared for 2 years. He's come back to the press conference. He's like, his chat is interesting. The suit is interesting. He looks a little bit older than he did before, and I'm not really sure what he's doing in the game or how hungry he is. Despite Thurman's intriguing presence, Hearn questioned his current commitment to the sport and the marketability of his matchup against Tszyu, considering it insufficiently compelling to anchor a successful PPV event. According to Hearn, I just feel like as a PPV, historically we know those kind of PPVs don't sell. And if it's a good card, it don't really matter because you have to grab the attention with a big headliner. Whether that's Tank against Ryan Garcia, whether that's Canelo against X, not Keith Thurman against Tszyu. That is not going to do good numbers on PPV. Despite Thurman's intriguing presence, Hearn questioned his current commitment to the sport and the marketability of his matchup against Tszyu, considering it insufficiently compelling to anchor a successful PPV event. Hearn stated, as a night, I quite like it. I think as a boxing fan I'd buy it, but that's not going to give you the numbers. Keith Thurman versus Tszyu is probably a fight I could probably say to you, guys, give me 100 fights to be made, and you would not say Keith Thurman against Tszyu. Like, you wouldn't. And I think, by the way, Tszyu will stop Keith Thurman, 100%. Hearn extended his critique to other fights of the night, acknowledging the entertainment value of fighters like Pitbull, but doubting their ability to elevate the event to a blockbuster PPV success.
Like, they're the pay-per-views, Ryan Garcia against Devin Haney, not Keith Thurman against Tszyu. That is not going to do good numbers on.
His comments reveal a nuanced understanding of the boxing market, emphasizing the importance of headline fights and driving PPV sales. He added, I mean, Pitbull will, I think he's a really entertaining fighter, a little bit limited at elite level. I think he will steamroll through Raleigh and will stop him. I say Raleigh at the press conference. I mean, the guy don't even really look like he wants to be there. It's not a compelling fight. Again, it's not a fight that's going to drive PPV sales. Hearn further added, if you combine it all, and this is not being a hater, good night of boxing, but you know that ain't gonna do PPV numbers. Overall, while Hearn recognized the event as an enjoyable experience for boxing fans, he remained skeptical about its commercial viability, suggesting that it lacks the heavyweight appeal typically required for high PPV numbers. His insights offer a valuable perspective on the dynamics of boxing promotions and the challenges of crafting an event that balances fan appeal with financial success. Meanwhile, Tszyu's recent remarks in an interview came as a surprise blow. Tszyu suggested a fresh challenge awaits Thurman. One, unlike his past battles with Manny Pacquiao and Mario Barrios.
And I do damage when I get in the ring.
Tim, what did you think when you found out that it was Keith Thurman?
Man, I got a video. I was so pumped. I was so excited, full of energy. The whole occasion is something that you dream as a young kid. So for me to be performing at this stage with a caliber of opponent like Keith Thurman, to have someone like that on your resume, it's
The developments in Tszyu's camp could reshape the anticipation surrounding the fight. Interestingly, Tszyu feels that studying Thurman's history provides a minimal advantage. Tszyu said, something that we've seen with Keith is the layoffs. He had one going into the Pacquiao fight, had another one going into the Barrios fight, has one in this fight going in with me. Tszyu's statements reflect his confidence and tactical insight. During a revealing portion of his interview, Tszyu openly delved into his strategy for the upcoming showdown against Keith Thurman. He added, because obviously people talk about Keith and the Danny Garcia and the Sean Porter fight, but I think we haven't seen that Keith in quite some time. Tszyu's response is both direct and enlightening, shedding light on his tactical mindset. Tszyu said, no, not really, in all honesty. We all got different styles, and it's all about when two styles collide, what's going to happen. Pacquiao is a complete different fighter to me, same as Barrios. I'll bring something completely different to the table, so what Keith is thinking that's worked with someone else might not work with me, you know? So styles make fights. Tszyu emphasized the uniqueness of his style, compared to Thurman's previous opponents. Moreover, Tszyu's remarks not only demonstrate his willingness to adjust, but also highlight the element of unpredictability he brings to the ring. He also asserted that he is unfazed by anything Keith says.
Look, I really don't care about the critics. You know, he's the one that's going to be in trouble, not me. You know, I can just keep fighting who I can. You know. There's a list of names. I feel like I'm John Wick, and there's a list of names that I'm just trying to tick.
In addition, Tszyu is straightforward in addressing Keith Thurman's trash-talking tactics. Reflecting on Thurman's remarks, Tszyu expressed bewilderment and doubt. Tszyu said, I'm not sure what he's implying there. Maybe he thinks I'm easy to hit? He noted Thurman's quick backtrack at the press conference, suggesting he knew he picked up. Delving deeper, Tszyu offered a blunt assessment of Thurman's character. He said, "The guy doesn't think before he speaks. He's just a little yapper. And I've always found the bigger the dog, the less they bark. But Chihuahuas, they're going to yap. It's all for show." As Thurman's return to the ring draws near, a reporter from Tha Boxing Voice questioned Tszyu about the glove sizes for the upcoming fight. Upon being questioned by the reporter, Tszyu promptly clarified that his bout against Thurman was taking place at 154 pounds, categorized as junior middleweight super welterweight. Therefore, as per regulations, they are not permitted to use 8-ounce gloves. In accordance with boxing regulations, fights within the flyweight to the welterweight range can opt for either 8-ounce or 10-ounce gloves, but for weight classes above that, 10-ounce gloves are compulsory. Hearing this, the reporter realized the mistake on his part, and Tszyu claimed, "There's a reason why in the boxing rules it goes from 147 from 8 ounces to 154 to 10 ounces. There's a reason for it." Moreover, these regulations are implemented because the dimensions and mass of the gloves can influence the force of punches landing across various weight categories. Setting aside the glove weight, Thurman appears to have devised a strategy against Tszyu.
Okay, fight fans, let's go. Real news, it's your boy Keith Thurman versus Tszyu. Coming to you, Las Vegas, March 30th, live, Amazon Prime pay-per-view. Come on, baby. Who is gonna beat who? Thurman versus Tszyu. Boom, 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 boom.
Even though he spent a considerable amount of time away from the ring last year, Thurman implies that he has closely observed several of Tszyu's matches and believes he has fully deciphered his opponent's tactics. During an interview with Premier Boxing Champions on February 7th, Thurman dissected Tszyu's fighting style. Thurman said, "Very fundamentally sound, move forward. I could say basic, but also tough, durable, patient, and he's looking to hurt you." And Thurman isn't wrong. With massive wins over Tony Harrison, Carlos Ocampo, and Brian Mendoza, Tszyu has proved he has what it takes to fight at the elite level. So, Thurman revealed his strategy. Thurman said, "I'm gonna have to be sharp and stay on my toes for this one." Occasionally, Keith Thurman's presence in the boxing world might slip your mind. These days, he rarely steps into the ring, so it was quite a surprise for fans when news of his comeback fight broke. Despite Tszyu's undefeated record and knack for impressive knockouts, Thurman doesn't regard him as a formidable opponent with a complex fighting style to decipher.
Man, it's easy, man. It's natural, I don't know why other people hold back, man. Talk your ish, baby. Talk your ish. Win, lose, or draw, you're gonna get paid. Every one of us up on stage, we have our fans. We have those who love us, who support us, that are cheering for us. We got people that, they don't want to see us get hit. They don't want to see us get beat down.
However, Tszyu didn't appreciate Thurman's claim that the Mexican style of boxing is simply characterized by being slow-footed. Thurman's rude comment prompted Tszyu to not only defend his own style of boxing, but also to commend the fan-friendly and engaging nature of the Mexican fighting style. Tszyu said, "Mexican styles are one of the greatest styles in the world. Don't be disrespecting the Mexican style." In a follow-up interview following the press conference, Tszyu elaborated on his initial response, highlighting that despite Thurman's impressive nickname, he hasn't secured a knockout victory since 2015. On the contrary, Tszyu has risen as a prominent figure in his weight class. Recognized for his relentless aggression and formidable punching abilities, Tszyu said, "Don't disrespect my style because I actually hurt people. He's a decision guy, decision maker, split decision guy. I don't. I win by a big points difference or I knock him up. My style, you can't back my style up. I'm gonna make him squeal. And mark my words, he will be squealing in the ring." Tszyu further added, "I think he's great. He's achieved great accomplishments. But that's the past. This is the present, I am just levels above him. I know that as a fact. He's got plenty of energy, but he doesn't know what he's in for. And he's in for a big surprise." As you can see, the fight has stirred up discussions, not just about the boxer's skills and past performances, but also about broader issues such as fight conditions, the importance of titles, and the challenges faced by boxers stepping back into the ring after long periods of inactivity. Tszyu said, "When you have someone who's been on a honeymoon for 2 years, and you got someone who's just been grinding it out nonstop, there's a difference. I just don't want any excuses. No excuses from him. None of this over-the-hill bullshit or that he hasn't fought for 2 years. Just bring that same energy because that's the energy I want when we get into the center of the ring." Overall, this match is more than just a fight. It's a narrative of comebacks, challenges, and the relentless pursuit of greatness in the unforgiving arena of professional boxing. So that's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos.